just coming back to Zoom here so that I can press record and get going with it. So hang on one moment, Caro. I'm just a bit late with that. Okay, so hi and welcome to the Positive Passionate Women in Business Hello You interview series. So I started this so that we can get to know a little bit more about our huddle members, because even though we can meet in our meetups and you know, in the Facebook group and all of that, it's so good to get to know what's going on behind the scenes and what makes you do what you do. Fantastic. So thank you.
Have you done one? Has anyone done one for you yet?
Oh no, no.
I think that's ideas. You can feel the pressure, but you wouldn't worry. I know. So peeking at you.
Well, so this is 15 questions in 15 minutes. Okay. So thanks for joining me, and if you're happy, we'll just get stuck straight in.
That's it. Let's beat the buzzer.
Okay, fantastic. Let me just press record now for Zoom. And here we go. Okay, so number one question is, tell me something about yourself that others may be surprised to know about you.
Oh, I tell my girls this all the time. I'm actually a hot, slim 30-year-old in this body. My husband half believes me, but the girls don't. No, other than that, what would people not know? I spent 6 weeks backpacking through Africa, probably 20 years ago, sleeping with scorpions, drinking out of swamps where hippos poo, like the whole thing. I just went, right, I'm a bit of a 5-starer, so I just was like, we're going feral. Girlfriend and I that we'd known since I was 5. Yeah, so it was fun. It was fun. I don't normally tell too many people because they're like, you never did. And I'm like, I did.
Amazing. 20 years ago. That's extraordinary.
No, it's probably a bit more than that. I might be lying. Yes.
How old is your oldest daughter?
24. Just turned 20.
Wow. And so she was already around?
Yes, someone just said to you, might be lying. It might be a bit longer than 20 years ago. I keep forgetting my age. Okay, that's right. They keep getting older every year. It's annoying. I can't lie anymore. You just pulled me up on it. That's right.
No, I have the same thing. It's funny. Everything I work out is, we call it BC, which is before Clover.
True.
Or AC
before child. Exactly. Exactly. Well, yes, I am trying to think. No, yes, she was around, I'm sure. No, I don't think she was. So yes, let's give it a little bit longer.
But still, only a couple of decades. So that's amazing. Doing the hippo
poo. I love it. Between friends. That's right. Yeah. Between boys. That's it. It's nothing. But it was good.
Awesome. So if there was something in your past that you were able to go back and do differently, what would that be?
Okay. I don't think I'd do anything differently, but I wish I had the confidence, you know, a long time ago to perhaps tackle things that I now do at 50 plus, where I think once you get to that age, you just don't care what people think as much, or whether you fail or succeed, the fear is not there. I think when you're young, you are ruthless when you're young, but you're also kind of like, I don't want anyone to see me fail. So you just sometimes hold yourself back. Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you on that. The aging process for me has definitely been very freeing.
It's liberating, isn't it, a little bit? Yeah. You don't have to hold your stomach in. Just like, hey, everyone gets it. I love it. Unless I'm around my mum, and then I'm like, oh, because she'll always tell me.
Oh, funny. So what do you love most about you do? Sorry, let me start again. What do you love most about what you do? And this is a great opportunity to tell everybody about what your business is and what you do.
It's a funny little business, what I do. Never know how people will find it interesting or not. But period underwear has become a bit of a new word, sort of buzzed around. Some people know a lot about it. Other people go, I've heard of it, don't understand it. Some people just, still to me, I think, wow, you've never heard of it. But once you're immersed in something, do you know what I mean? Like, even look at my Instagram and Facebook, I get everyone else's period underwear. Bam, 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 bam. And I'm like, okay, it's picked up on what I do. I just don't want to buy yours. But so And that came about really just as a need for my own girls, really a selfish reason, and perhaps their friends. So it wasn't like I set out to change the world or try or came, the concept isn't new. But at the time, nobody was doing teenage girls. It was all women's. And then just before I was about to launch, Modi Body, who a lot of people would know, one of the biggest, and they're very successful, launched their teenage range probably within about a month of when I was going to do it. And for some reason, and competition is a really healthy thing, and the market is there for a lot of players, but for some reason it just put me off. And like, you know what, everything sat in my garage and I did nothing with it for about nearly a year. Isn't that funny? Because I just felt, oh, they're already doing it, that's it, it's done. And yet they're too, well, mine are made differently to how theirs are done, and you know what I mean, that people do need to have a choice, perhaps. Well, so I've learnt they're happy to have a choice, which is lovely. But it's funny how intimidating you can be when a big company takes on something, and I'm like, I'm just a mum. So I wished I'd backed myself back then like I have done now, because it's been very successful. How funny.
Yes. And I've loved the chats that we've had about it previously to this now. But I also believe that things happen when they're meant to. So,
true.
Maybe that you were able to just have it there ready to go, sit back and watch things, do a bit more looking at whether it's how you need to market it or whatever. But you've had so much success, like extraordinary success in the few months since you launched.
So lucky. Yeah. And I do think, what was I waiting for? You know what I mean? But it's just that fear. It was just that, well, I don't know, naivety on my behalf to think there should only be one player in the market.
Yes, like there can't be just one digital marketing coach, because everybody wants a different style. Not all styles resonate with people.
Yeah.
So imagine if there was only one burger brand in the world.
How boring would life be? Oh, actually, I'd love that. I hate decisions on dinners. I'd be like, yeah, that's what we get every night from now to eternity. No decisions. That'd be great. But no.
Oh, that's great. So, Caro, what do you love most about what you do?
I have been so lucky. I'm very much supportive of young girls. I think I don't have sons, so I'm probably slightly biased, but I do think teenage girls with peer pressure and changes to their body that are physical, and probably as do boys, let's be honest, but I think girls is very noticeable. I feel a real need to try and ensure that that's a smooth journey, whether it's not just due to periods, but probably in the bigger scheme as well. So my biggest joy is I get so many lovely emails from I get to connect to lovely mums. And then, some of them are just so gorgeous. They come back and they go, oh, she got them first time, and I think, wow, you've shared that with me. You don't know me personally. And yet I am really touched. Like sometimes I'll have little tears, and I'm just as exciting because it is a big milestone. And I don't know that we all need to have period parties, but it's nice when I feel that other mums have got another mum to talk to, because sometimes we just don't feel like, should we be telling our grandmas and aunties and their best friends' mums? You don't know. So sometimes it's just that other person to say, hey, guess what? It's happened and I'm really excited, and she was prepared and everything's gone smoothly. So I am lucky that way.
You are. I love that you're really making a difference. And
it seems silly to say that, doesn't it? But I feel it. So
absolutely true. I think it's just incredible. And having a daughter myself, I know what a massive experience that was to go through. And I just think it's so wonderful what you do.
I would like to expand, Knicked, because you are right. It's also an emotional roller coaster. There's hormones. I wouldn't like to, at some stage, perhaps add in some more sort of just tools for girls, and maybe their mums. You know what? We're not all, no one comes with a manual. And I've got a couple of girls, they're all different. They all have dealt with that puberty differently. Some breeze right through, some, it's hard, it's different. So I would like to maybe expand on it.
And it's about letting them know that it's okay. And when
Yes.
I was looking for books for my daughter, and she was quite young,
Yeah.
all the books that I found was where it was talking about when girls are developing, it's preparing them to be a woman and they're becoming a woman. But my daughter was young and she didn't want to think about being a woman. So I felt that really difficult. And they were talking about how once you've developed so that you can have a baby. Well, whoa, when you're talking to your child about that, it's like, where are all the books at that younger stage?
It's
so maybe
you are right. That is a real passion of mine. More and more girls start menstruating in primary school, year 5, year 4, year 6, and they're not surrounded with sometimes friends that understand or even know. I think our teachers are a lot better at sort of helping with that transition now. I think it's discussed a lot more in primary school than it ever used to be. It used to be if your mum paid you $10, you could go and learn about the sex talk after school. But now I think they've realised that, especially as a society, we're holding our children back. So they're going to school older. And whereas we used to send them at 4, as soon as we could get them out of the house, we'd send them. And I've done that with my eldest. And then with the youngest, she was probably nearly 6 before she's, do you know what I mean? I gave her that another year of preschool thinking, and so that does mean she's 18 months older than the youngest one in the class. Makes a big difference, doesn't it? So you are right. It is that really trying to help that transition for those younger ones in primary school. When we have the buddy system, you've got to take someone to the toilet block with you. You know, it's a new set, but all schools in Australia now, you have to have someone, the teacher picks another, obviously female child in the class, and then you have to have someone accompany you. So it can be awkward. How do you get to your school bag? How do you explain what you're doing in there? You know,
absolutely, it's very odd. And in my daughter's school, she was at a very small, we're at Bangalore, so a tiny little village school, and there was only one sanitary bin in one of the toilet blocks, but it was often the only toilet where the door used to come off or something, she used to say. So incredibly awkward and difficult trying to get your head around how to deal with that. So I just love that you've invented your knickers. I just think that so wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to really shouting that from the rooftops.
I know you are really supportive, I think, and I love that. I love that.
Yay,
and you know what? Every woman and every mum has their own story about how it happened for them. And some of them are just when they sort of sometimes share that with me to say, I'm doing this so early because I never want what happened to me to happen to their daughter. I think, wow, it's been going on for so long. And yet we still don't comfortably talk about it.
It's just given me a little brain flash.
Oh, good, I love your brain flashes.
I think we need to organise a meetup, you know, the online meetup, just for women to talk about this.
Oh, and I love that. That's cool.
These stories and things, because it's so powerful and so liberating to be able to talk about that. I actually haven't told you this yet, but it's a really curious thing. I went home from school one day. I was at this private girls' school in Auckland, and nothing like that was ever talked about. And we all got called to the library one day, and we all just sit on the ground, and we had these very long, very big dresses that we used to wear, and you know, with the tie and the blazer and the whole thing.
Gloves,
And what they did was they said, okay, would everybody please put their heads down between their legs and put your hand up if you've got your period. It was the strangest thing, because my brain was going, I would know already if I had my period. Why would I need to look? I didn't get that all they would try to do was have us admit to that we'd got our period at some point, but without other people seeing. But the way they worded it made it was like, check it out. It was so weird. And that was pretty much it. And of course, everyone was peeking to see who had their hands up. And instead of it being actually an okay thing.
I agree with that. I hear a lot of mums say that they had phobias due to what happened to them in primary school, especially those women that have periods younger than the majority of the sort of, you know, sort of much before all of their friends or their classmates. And some of them said that hung around with them, because their family or their mum never spoke to them about it. So they didn't know what was going to happen. And when it happened, they've just said for years it had this stigma, you know, it really did make them feel unclean, or like, yeah, it is bigger than what we just brush it off with. Hey, everyone gets everyone. Not everyone does get one, and some are worse than others, and some are and they're irregular, and there's a lot to do. And you're only at that age where you're still sort of trying to just work out who you are.
Absolutely. And there's so many kids that are so misinformed that it's quite damaging. So yeah, let's get a beat up happening and discuss.
I also agree with you. I'm one of the things I would love to do is create an app for girls. I think everyone has a phone these days, whether I'd like them all to or not, because most of the apps there to remind them, whatever, it's all about ovulation, falling pregnant, and exactly what you said. That's not a discussion that needs to happen to 8, 9, 10 and 11, probably even 12-year-olds, really. Like, I wouldn't be comfortable talking to my child to say, you getting this so that you can go and have a baby. Yes, maybe somewhere down the track, but you are right. We have got to sort of change the ways that even most of the books out there talk about. It's just sort of like, you've got this, so now you can go and have a child. And I'm like, I don't need her to know those sort of parts of it yet.
Absolutely. We've got 2 meetups we need to have then. One about periods and one about apps, because I've got 2 apps that I've been wanting to do this so long. And there's quite a few others that I've heard along the way. They're really keen on creating some apps. So we need to,
let's get a guru. We need a
person. Yes, I'm going to find a speaker that will come and talk to us about apps. Because I've got quotes before that have ranged from 5,000 to 55,000.
I know, so have I. And I think, oh, mine's so simple. I just need a calendar. I need to find that 6th class up that can create apps. Put them on to Google.
That's so true. Well, leave it with me. I'm going to find someone to be one of our speakers this year on that. That'll be very good. Thanks, Caro. Great idea. Okay, so what do you love least about what you do?
I have found, because I work at home and by myself, it's lonely. I get bored with my own personality. So I have always, when I was in the working environment, in very large multinational, usually American companies, so you had a person for everything in those sort of places. I don't know that that would be the case these days, of course, but I bore myself to tears. Loneliness. Horrible. Hate it. And I find it indeed motivating as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that another thing we need to set up is like a coffee group or something.
Well, that's why I employ you to be my buddy. The coaching course was just really a ruse, just so I have a friend.
Well, we have a wonderful member, Roxanne. I don't know if you've seen any of her posts yet, but she makes incredible flour cupcakes and cactus cupcakes and succulent cupcakes. Anyway, she said in one of the lives, it was actually Julie that said in one of the lives, who makes the artisan perfume. And she said, particularly during COVID, that it was a very lonely time. Did anybody want to meet up for a virtual coffee? And Roxanne said, yes, I do. And so they met up, and I thought, what a beautiful, beautiful idea. Maybe we need to do it once a week.
I don't know if virtual cakes will do it for me. I need the real thing. I need them pre-posted and mailed out to me first. Otherwise, I'm very disappointed. I can't eat it.
A coffee or a tea online. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Little morning break, have a catch up. How's everybody doing? Let's get motivated.
I think I'm the only one that enjoyed the lockdown period because my whole fam bam were home.
Yeah.
It was awesome. They're all doing their own thing, but I just loved it. That I was like, oh, cool, I can go down and chat to someone once I've had enough of myself.
For me, it was endless food coming into my office because my daughter was just baking and cooking all day because she loves it. And I was like, what delicious thing have you bought me now? Or the other thing for me that was special is that I normally wouldn't take a lunch break because I'm flat out, but I would go in and have an actual lunch with her each day.
See, it was a good thing even for you then. It did have positive for everyone, I think.
Yeah, and we were so lucky here in Australia that we haven't had such a horrendous experience of COVID like some other countries. So yeah, I've definitely tried to focus on all the positives that have come out of it. And there have been many, I think. So,
Yeah.
you know, but, you know, touch wood. Oh, that's bamboo. Touch wood that, you know, this second wave is more fleeting than it could be.
Yes.
Okay, look at number 5. So if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Oh, honestly, what I was doing prior to this, big fat nothing. I had do you know what, I guess the upside to having a children 10 years apart is that we'd done all the hard yards with the first one, worked really hard. So came the second one, we'd already paid all private schools, that was all done, she was sorted. So we've only ever had to do things sort of, it doesn't have that groundhog effect like it does when you have the wham, wham, wham. So with the last one, and I had her at 40, so I knew that was the last one. Oh, lady of market and leisure. I know it sounds terrible, but I just thought this time I worked like a lot of mums have to. I worked all the way through and I was still working and I missed out on lots. And I just sort of said to my husband, actually said, just don't do anything this time. Go and be at the preschool every second day. I think I was there that much. They practically were going to give me a job. But you know what I mean? Like I was still sending her because I felt like she should go to preschool. And I'm thinking, I'm just home waiting for you to come back. But look, so it was a different, and look, now she's much older and they don't need me. So this came at a really good point in time.
That is wonderful.
I would have really been lonely.
Well, now look what you're doing.
Nothing, no kids.
And now you can reach even so many more people with it. So it's wonderful, wonderful. So what has been your biggest success in your working life?
Okay, well, like you said, Knicked has been very successful, but it's very young. So we're only, a few months down the track. So I don't think we can really, I don't want to sit here and say it's been amazing because it could just go away tomorrow. But I think prior to that, when I was working in corporate, I would take a role, like a lot of women, take a role that probably I felt, oh, I knew I could do it, but I felt like I could do another role, but I knew they wouldn't give it to me. And then by the end of that 5 years, I didn't really stay anywhere much more than 5 years, but by the end of that 5 years, I had that initial role that I'd always wanted to get, but I might not have had the degrees enough behind me to walk in the door and get it like that. So I think when I look back, I always think, holy moly, how did I even get there? How did they fall for it? But then eventually I always got to right near the top where I wanted to be. And I did it over and over. So I always say to my girls, personality and hard work is at the end of the day more important than as many. I mean, I want them all to go get degrees and they've all had to, but even the youngest, I think, but in this day and age, but I still think even then, hard work and dedication and personality will get you further.
Absolutely, but you know what? Yes, but what's special about what you did clearly is that you had a dream. So, and you set goals. So you didn't just start there and then go, oh, this, now I've really nailed it and I'm just kind of cruising along. Like you just went, boom, what's next? And kept watching where you were heading with that, which is
it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Didn't think it would end up with period underwear, but here we are. Funny.
What kind of jobs do you like doing the most within your business? And because you've said that you're doing it all at the moment, so which are your favorite bits and who are your dream clients within that?
Well, my dream clients are any person with a teenage or a preteen girl, of course, and I think the part I enjoy most is when someone comes to me via whatever network, having no real understanding of what these are or what they can do, and then them taking, whether it's one pair or a week or whatever, and then coming back to me at some point saying, oh, game changer, just amazing. I think it's that when someone is probably a bit negative, or not even negative, but just very unsure, there's a lot of questions around it, the ick factor, there's a lot of things. And I love it when people are just honest and brutal and they're like, I just think it sounds gross. And I'm like, okay, you're my perfect customer. Come with me. And then
you need to turn it around.
Yeah. For their girls and for themselves and you know what? I would probably my nose would grow if I'm saying I'm completely environmental. But I think we all have an awareness that we didn't have before of our actions. And I mean, I probably don't, I'll tell you hand on heart, I don't have worm farms or anything else in the backyard, but I do consciously recycle. And I think where I think I can make a change without having to give up all my luxuries, I will. And this is one where it is staggering when you see how much goes into our landfill and oceans. Staggering when you consider each woman is doing this every 3 weeks for 10 years, and for that week you're using this many different products, and they all end up there, and they don't decompose for about 300 to 500 years each pad. So that's your children's children. I mean, we just don't think about it, you know what I mean? You just put it in the bin, you wrap it up, you take it out to your garbage bin, and that's as far as even I ever thought of it. But the ramification, and it's such an easy fix. It's an easy one. It's like taking your own coffee cup. Or shopping bags. And you know what? Do you remember when shopping bags, they were like phasing out shopping bags, and we're all like, oh no. I must admit, I probably now have bought about 160 recyclable bags because I always forget my bag when I get there. But I've now come up with a better solution. I just put everything in the trolley, take it to the car, because I know in the car there's always going to be about 60 of those things. Yeah. So they know me now. I'm like, no, they're all in the car. I keep forgetting. So I think it's just those. And now I would feel weird if someone just put things in a plastic bag for me.
Yeah.
Because we're so now how quickly we got used to it.
We adjust so quickly, don't we?
We are adjustable little things, aren't we?
Yeah. We are.
Yeah.
So what challenges do you see impacting your industry?
I think we're actually quite lucky, and I think if anything else, it's just going to be more growth. The more knowledge people have, look, COVID helped some companies because sanitary items were disappearing as quickly as toilet paper, apparently, and there were people being stuck without, which is, you know, and there is no shortage of it, of course, but it was just that mad panic. But I didn't get into it to make it an industry or to make it success. I just don't think it will. I think people are becoming more and more aware there are better options. It doesn't have to be mine. It can be Diva cups. There's an assortment of different ways, recyclable, reusable pads. You know, I'm happy for people to find whatever works with them and cut down somewhere.
Good on you. That's a great attitude, because you're dead right. We all have got different preferences or what works for us, but having better options across the board is so important.
I do think though that if we can get to girls when they're younger, and then that's what you know is a natural and completely healthy way to deal with it, is much easier than once we've put all these ridiculous things that have to be a medical treatment, and we need, you know, what doctor created and insert this and do this, you know what I mean? It is a bit of we were being trained that we need to treat it like it's a medical issue. Yeah, and it's not as a natural process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good on you. So what did you want to be when you were a little thing, and you were thinking about what you want to be when you grow up?
I don't think I was ever a little thing. But I actually can't remember. I don't think I had any of those dreams. Like I remember my kids being, I want to be the tooth fairy, or I want to be this. And I'm thinking, I'm sure I never said anything that sort of sensible. I don't think I did. You know what I mean? I'm just real go with the flow. I don't seem to be like, where I know this is why I have you in my life, because I'm never like, oh, where will I be in 6 months? Should I be growing this bit? No. Like, oh, I'm awake today. Yay. Live another day.
You know, though, I've never heard that one before when you said about being the tooth fairy. I think that is cute as can be.
Don't think it pays too well. Oh, that probably pays quite well these days. I think I was up to about like $5 for some molars by the end of the last one. I'm like,
Oh, Clover used to
holy
only ever
moly.
get a coin.
And then
And-
there's always that mum that said, I only had a 50.
Oh, our
So I had to
neighbour
give
brought
them
over
the 50. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Because now mine will ask.
oh, she had a tear and said, why did the tooth fairy not love me?
That's true. That's true. I'm like, save your 50 for the orthodontist.
So if you were an animal, which one would you be?
Oh, I'm going to go elephant. I
Oh,
don't know, something magic about, I mean, I was just lovely enough to track a few with a couple of nice looking African men by my side. And I mean, really in their own, I mean, look, I still go and see them at zoos, but it is a lot sadder once you've seen them out with their herds. They're magical, graceful, beautiful creatures.
yes. Oh, wow. Oh, that inspires me. I want to do some traveling.
Their poos are like enormous. Belly you up. I was like, it's not really a scavenger hunt. Even I can work it out what it was. Didn't need a tracker for that.
So if you were a movie character, who would you be and why? So what movie would that be in?
Oh, do you know what I've got into lately? I don't know if you guys ever watched it. Gilmore Girls.
Yep.
The mother and the daughter. I think because I've got one about that age, and I think, oh, she is so uber cool. I'd love to be hanging out with them. Other than that, anything in Ocean's 8, what are we up to? Ocean 17 or something? With Brad Pitt, that'd be nice. I'd be like, oh yeah.
My daughter and I watched Gilmore Girls at least a couple of times over. We thought we were
just light-hearted. Yeah, easy.
But always felt we were very much like those.
Oh, yeah. See, obviously that's the magic of the show, because even I think that. I'll fight you.
Oh, so cool. I love it. So if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Oh, okay. Live permanently, it was always going to be Australia. But I desperately am missing travel. We had 6 weeks booked all the way through Europe, like a lot of people did, but that was our first sort of real, my husband hadn't done a lot of travel he's been for work, but when you're there for work, you just see inside of hotels and whatever else, and then you're back. So that all got cancelled, unfortunately, for June, July. But there's so many places in the world. I just love traveling. Love. But I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but here.
Australia's pretty special.
I think we're very lucky. Very lucky.
I feel very lucky.
But you only really notice it when you're flying back in and you look at our harbour and you're like, wow, our place is awesome. But I really have not travelled very much in Australia. Isn't that horrible?
Well,
I really haven't. And that's because it's twice as expensive as if you go overseas.
When you look at going to Perth, that's a huge trek.
Yeah.
On a plane, let alone if you were to go overland.
The overnighter, yeah.
As opposed to jump on a plane and you're in.
Yeah. I think that might change now because of COVID. It might be the one thing that changes is I think airfares will become a lot more expensive in the next few years for them to make back what they've lost, and they'll still have to social distance on planes for the foreseeable future until hopefully we have another solution to this. So I do think it will force, we've actually just booked our first holiday ever in Australia for the end of the year. And let's see if this gets cancelled. We'll say, well, I'm not going to jinx it just yet. We're off to Queensland because I've never even been there. Isn't that terrible?
Wow. So you're flying
every holiday we go to Vietnam but you know what I mean, I just used to tick off the countries, go like, let's go Cambodia, let's go to Vietnam. And there's just so many, it was always that lure of the overseas being more exciting, but we are pretty lucky where we are. So for people like me, this will be, and for my kids as well, it'll be something, you know, that's forced us to go, hey, let's make our holiday here.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much to explore.
Do you think, though, that the Gold Coast is really the same as, say, Ios, the Greek islands, where I was meant to be, or Paris?
Not quite, but it definitely has some cool things, you know, like
really?
Wet n Wild.
I was like, the closest we might get is instead of Euro, Paris, Disney, you can go to one of the theme parks.
Yes. Yes. There's that. Oh, there's definitely some fun things. and up to the Sunshine Coast, and
Yes.
you know, a bit of exploring. My daughter and I just did a little mini vacay, and we went all the way to Casuarina, which is 40 minutes from us.
See, but you hadn't done it before, isn't that so crazy?
We just needed a tiny little time away.
That's
and it was lovely. So
True.
you know, you just never know what's going to be fun. That's just on your back doorstep. So
That's it.
that's cool. Okay, so this is question number 13. We've only got a couple more after this one.
Finished and exhausted. Okay.
Really? So what does being a positive and passionate woman in business mean to you?
Oh, okay. I have found this group and other groups, you know, like where women actually, you know, it's a bit of a, we sort of say women cut other women down, and in some ways we do. But when it comes to business, it's a funny thing. We all like cling and openly help each other. If it wasn't for people like yourself and other wonderful people that have been where I've been, know how to do it. And you know what? I can't believe people's generosity to go, oh, I know exactly, here, dude, try this, and this. So that's amazing. You don't get it many other places apart from when it's women. You know, otherwise we criticize other people's parenting, we criticize their choices, we don't like their husband. But for some reason, we all get it together and we're like, yes, we're a sisterhood. We're going to help each other.
Isn't that
nice?
So true. So true. It is so wonderful. I love being part of women supporting women. It's so important, isn't it? So what are you most proud of in your life that's not business related?
I think it's always going to be anyone that's had children. Maybe we feel like we have to say it. No, I do think it. I have very sort of, I can't say it about both of them because they're very different. But both my girls will not follow. You know what I mean? They're both very, they know their own souls. It's not perhaps even always my beliefs, but they're very solid in that. They're resilient. That's what the word is. And I think resilience is the most important thing we can give. I don't know how they became that way because I'm not, you know, don't think it was just my wisdom. I try to tell them it was and they're like, yeah. But, do you know what I mean? Like I know if God forbid something happened to me tomorrow, my two cockroaches will still survive and flourish. And I'm thinking that's cool. Yeah.
That's so wonderful. So the last question is, what's one tip that you can share of how you stay positive when things are challenging?
It has to be laughter, honestly, really, because everyone has sucky days. I know if I'm dealing with a customer and they just seem to me, and I don't often speak to them face to face, so it can be, I can read it in their email, and I think, you know what, I'm sort of like, oh, I get a bit defensive, and then I email back, and then I realize they're just like, I've had the worst day, this has happened, and my husband's just, you know, and I think, okay, cool. We all have bad days, so really, I think women that work from home have that advantage that, unlike work, I can just turn the computer off for half an hour. Do you know what I mean? Like, thankfully, the orders still come back in, but I think it's better that I walk away for half an hour, iced coffee, chocolate, whatever it is my body is telling me it desperately needs, which it doesn't, and then come back to it. But look, generally, I'm just pretty much a happy-go-lucky person. I am lucky that, but we all just get those days, don't we? I think laughter, I just ring my mum, just to do blah, 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 blah about my father. And then I get off the phone and I go, oh, I feel so much better. She feels better. I feel better. Have a whinge. Yeah.
Wonderful. I couldn't agree more. Laughter definitely makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Oh, that's so wonderful. Caro, I feel bad. I realized
survived.
I realized just after we started that I had forgotten to actually properly introduce you. So I
was hoping you would say you forgot to hit the record button.
No.
I would have like fist pumped in the air. Yay.
No, we're live. But for those of you that, well, you will have obviously read it in the caption, but it's Caroline Laffer, known as Caro, and her business is Knicked. And the Instagram, the Facebook, the website, they're all there in the caption. So you can go and explore what she does. And I think especially after hearing this and learning more about you, is it'll be very fascinating for a lot of people to go and see that. Because I think if you're not in the daughter scenario, or even in teenage daughters, or if you're not in that realm of needing to know about that kind of stuff, or if you have daughters that are much older, you could have missed the whole being even aware that this sort of thing, that period knickers even existed.
Great, isn't it? Because I get people who are swim coaches who run swim schools contact me, people who run fitness camps for teenage girls, and so they don't have children themselves, but their interest comes from wanting to help that sort of group that they're mentoring. And I think, oh wow, school teachers, it's amazing, isn't it? So you don't have to have a daughter yourself. Hopefully you're blessed with nieces or things like that. I have a few people order just for their nieces, and I think, oh, wish I had an auntie that was like that. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm like, I am that auntie. I will send you period underwear, whoever you are.
Awesome. Oh, well, Caro, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kylie.
And I really appreciate you spending this. It was meant to be 15 minutes, but I do love to chat a bit, and
yes, well, I'm glad you blamed yourself and not me then. So we know the truth. It's okay.
That was awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was great to spend this time with you. And I look forward to seeing you very soon in our next online meetup.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Caro. Great to see you. Have a good night. Bye.
You hang up.